I get a lot of questions, and a lot of those questions are, well, what should I do for this and that? And unfortunately, I do get a lot of questions about what do I do about my cancer? So you'll probably notice I really don't talk about cancer much. There's several reasons for that. I'm sure those of you who are in the health field understand that's probably not the topic you want to discuss a lot. However, one thing I do want to tell you that cancer is a disease that's best prevented. And there is no hard and fast formula because it's such a complex disease. But I do know that cancer is the last stage of dysregulation in the body. Cancer happens when your body completely loses control over its natural functions. So by the time you get to cancer, your body is extremely dysregulated. It's very important to do everything you possibly can to safeguard yourself from deficiencies, from toxins. And that goes not just chemical toxins, but also toxic relationships and toxic emotions. There's not a bunch of tests that you can say, oh yeah, for sure you can get tested and this test will definitely tell you if you have cancer or not. It's a very insidious killer. It sits there for years until your body weakens enough and then it takes over. I do want to show you the hair analysis of what cancer pattern can actually look like. So this right here was a very sad case of a very young woman. She was in her early 40s that came in, and she came in 4th stage of cancer. She's already gone through mastectomy, radiation, and chemotherapy, and she was kind of at the end of her rope. So she did come in, and I make it very clear that I don't work necessarily with cancer. I do help people nutritionally while they're going through treatments. However, when I got this hair analysis, I pretty much flat out told her that there's not really much I can do to help. And here's why. So if you look at these 4 minerals that are out here, you will notice that's calcium, magnesium, sodium, potassium. So those are very important, and your body uses them to regulate a lot of processes in the body. Now you can have different patterns. Sometimes calcium and magnesium zoom up. That's more of an indication of chronic stress. If your sodium and potassium are really high, that's an indication that your body is under acute stress. However, this is one pattern right here that we really don't like to see. So you'll notice how potassium is way off the chart and sodium seems to be fine. This is known, ironically, as a death pattern. So why does this happen? This happens because low sodium to potassium ratio, I'm gonna zoom forward a little bit and show you something. So this right here, this ratio sodium to potassium is actually very reflective of how much resources does your body have left. We're all born with certain amount of reserves. Some of us are luckier, we have a lot, others not so much. And most people are somewhere in the middle. And some people are just really born weak of the get-go. But what you want to do as you go through life, you want to get your energy for living from food that you eat, water that you drink, air that you breathe. You do not want to borrow against yourself. So in the body, this reserve gets reflected by this ratio. An ideal number here is between 2.5 and 4. Now, when this number gets really high, it usually signifies inflammation in the body. But when it starts to dip, that's when I get really concerned. The lower this number dips, the less vitality you have. So you'll notice that she had basically about 1/10 of the vitality left. What that means is your body basically runs out of energy, and it doesn't matter what else you do with it. You can give it the best supplements, you can give it the best treatments. You literally have nothing to work with. Unfortunately, this lady died about 3 months after she first came in. But like I said, she had nothing to work with. It was a very sad case. I don't lose clients often to death. I mean, we all gonna die sometime, but it still really bothers me, even though it's been a few years, because it was too late. What I always tell people when I do see this ratio, when I see this number starting to dip, take your health seriously. Your body is starting to lose the battle. You're starting to live on borrowed time. You're starting to borrow against yourself. It's an early warning sign, and it can really, in a lot of cases, signal the body that there's something very serious going on, and you better make your health a priority. Now, understand it doesn't have to be cancer, but it does always mean a pretty strong dysregulation. This is another example of a test. And here, again, you will see kind of this step-like pattern. It's a pattern of you running against the wall. This gentleman in his early 60s had multiple years, multiple decades of problems with his stomach. And by the time he got to me, that already turned into stomach cancer. Luckily, he did go for traditional treatments, and he also did a lot of alternative supportive therapies, and he recovered. But you can see, when I saw this, I pretty much let him know that he really needs to get a medical attention, and he needs to be tested. And sure enough, the cancer was found. And you'll notice that his ratio is still low, but it's above 1. So the body was very weakened, and he had stomach issues for most of his life, starting, I think, when he was 15 or 16. So turns out he had H. pylori most of his life. And eventually it does cause stomach cancer. So again, lucky for us, we caught it in time, and he was able to reverse it, and he's still alive and well to this day. So that's what I wanted to mention, really to illustrate the point of how important it is to be proactive with your health. Don't take it for granted. There's a lot of tests available to you, and also how important it is to do testing, to individualize. On a brighter note, I just had somebody that came in today, and I saw him. This was her third appointment. He had multiple health complaints, really couldn't figure out. The blood tests all look great. At least not an extensive blood panel like I like to run. It was more traditional regular tests, but he wasn't feeling good. He had a lot of fatigue. He couldn't sleep. His digestive system was bothering him. So we ran the hair analysis, did all the usual tests, really tweaked not that much, changed his diet, changed a few lifestyle things that he was doing. And this is his third appointment. He said this is the best he's felt in 20 years. When you individualize something, you understand what it is that your body needs, and don't follow fads, because there's so many fad programs, fad diets, fad supplements out there. It's always the next best thing. There isn't the next best thing for all of us. We're all very different. So you have to understand what it is that your body is telling you. When you do that, your body responds very quickly. So individualization is really important. I always recommend individualized blood work, individualized hair analysis, and work with somebody who knows what they're doing. We do offer phone appointments. We do offer individual consultations, or find somebody in your area that you can connect to. But don't just follow any next thing that somebody promises you will definitely fix your problems. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Have a great evening, everyone, and talk to you soon.